tell me about yourself and tell me what Life Ally is.
So my name's Catherine, and I come from a personal assistant home management background. And Life Ally, what I found was that people just need support when they feel overwhelmed. And so we created Life Ally to help people get their overwhelm under control.
I know that when we've talked in the past, you've mentioned how crucial it is to do sort of a mental download or a brain dump. Can you explain to me what that is? And if I wanted to do that today, how would you recommend I do that?
Definitely. So, a mental download or a brain dump is basically everything that is living in your head, creating mental clutter. So, we want to get all that stuff that is living up there out. And I'm going to say sheet of paper, but we know today that we are going to be using a computer and stuff. And so, just whenever I say sheet of paper, just automatically assume that I'm talking about the computer. So, it's just getting everything out of your head on a sheet of paper and then prioritizing what needs to be done. So, there's some things that, like, for example, like I'll walk in the door, my front door every single day and go, gosh, I need to replace the seal on that door. Does it have to be done today? No. So, what I do is I add it to my brain dump and it lives there until I am ready to do it. So then when I walk through that door every day, I don't go, oh, I got to do that because it's out of my head on a sheet of paper.
When we're talking about a brain dump, you're not talking about like write down your top three things. You're saying I need to write every single thing that's consuming my thoughts down on a piece of paper.
Every single thing, yes. So you probably, once you get everything out, you probably have over 200 things that are living in your head, from what to do with your home to what to do with your life to, maybe things that you want to read, movies that you want to watch. I mean, the list goes on and on. And the best thing is, so I always tell people when they're doing this, because it takes days, it's not one of those things that you can just sit down and just word vomit it all out of your head and there it is. These things are the things that are going to wake you up at 2 in the morning. And so I always say, keep a sheet of paper, because no, don't look at your phone at 2 in the morning. Don't do it. But keep a sheet of paper and a pen by your bed. So when you wake up at 2 in the morning, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. Write it down.
Okay, so now I've done my brain dump. I have a list of a gazillion things. What am I supposed to do with the list next?
So you need to prioritize. And there's different ways of doing that, but basically you've got four main sections. You've got your brain dump, that's your big section. Then you've got your to-dos that are kind of up at the very top that you can complete within the next few days. And you don't want to have any more than 3 to-dos at any given time in that section. And that's because as as adults, we get very overwhelmed quickly because we have so much to do. So if you have 10 things in that, then you're going to have to constantly, because the thing with a to-do list is you need to look at it every single day, potentially multiple times a day, because depending on what needs to get done. So I always suggest, looking at your to-do list first thing in the morning. And so you've got all those, you've got 3 things up there, because if you've got 10, then you're reviewing those 10 things and then you become quickly overwhelmed and just it doesn't work. So you've got your to-dos, then your next is your follow-up. So this is something that you've potentially reached out to people and you're waiting on a response from them. So it's nothing that the ball is out of your court and it's in theirs, but you still want to remember what that you need to follow up with them or they need to follow up with you. And then the next one is in queue. And so these are the ones that once that one is checked off in your to-do list, then you go and you move like, okay, what am I going to do next? And then you pick that one that's in the in queue and then you move it up to your to do. So it's just this constant rotation of things to do, but it works really, really well.
This sounds like a lot of steps. So, are there any tools that you recommend or that you use in your life? Because I can imagine that if I started keeping track of this on my yellow notebook here, I'm going to get pretty frustrated pretty fast. So, are there any things that you would recommend from your experience that could help me right away to organize my to-do list?
So I've used everything. I've used sheets of paper. I've used the Monday app. I've used Asana. But the one that I've found that works the best is Todoist. And don't cheap out. You got to spend the $50 for the whole year and get Todoist, get the premium version, because there's one of the great things about the premium version is that a lot of the tasks can be location specific. So let's say you write your grocery list on Todoist. When you walk into the store, it will pop up as a notification because you put the address of the grocery store. It'll pop up and there it is ready to go. So whenever you like, or the post office, if you need, a QR code, the second you walk into that post office, that notification will pop up and you'll be able to access that QR code right then and there. And so Todoist really has done a good job with being able to put notes in quickly. So they've got an inbox. So like, let's say something just pops in your head, like I've got to take the meat out of the freezer, whatever. And you're at work, but you've got to remember it when you come home. You can just go put that quickly in the inbox, put it as a location specific. So the second you get into your house, it'll alert you and you won't forget.
Is it hard to set up? I imagine that with most softwares take a little bit of learning, but with this particular software, like if I bought it today, when could I expect to use it?
I think you can pretty much expect to use it immediately. It does take some time. So for me, like I have all my entire home of everything that needs to be done every single month in my home in Todoist. And so that took quite a bit of time. I would say that took maybe an hour or two to get that whole thing set up. So I would say maybe 3 hours at most to really get it to where it works well for you.
The end of the year is great because we get to start over fresh after the first of the year. But it is also a really high stress time because of the holidays. And regardless of if the holidays are awesome or horrible in your life, it brings some amount of stress, good stress and bad stress. So I can imagine that starting to use something like this now could have a lot of benefits as we approach the beginning of the year. And as this year winds down, any tips or tricks as we approach the holidays and enter the first of the year?
So I would spend the next few weeks just doing that brain dump, getting all those things out of your head that are creating that mental clutter, get them out and get them into Todoist. And then we can also help create that template for you. So then you can hit the ground running January 1 and you don't have to remember how to do everything. Like we've done this before. It's we've done it lots of times. And so we're definitely here where we can help and get all those pieces that you need. So then you're not having to think about it. All you have to do is just populate your tasks.
Any drawbacks or places where you've seen people stumble in the past as you've helped them and worked with them? I can imagine that sitting down to do the brain dump could in itself be an overwhelming task just because we all have so much going on. Any instances where you have experienced sort of that with a client, and how would you recommend like guiding them through that overwhelm of trying to get rid of the overwhelm?
Yeah. As we know, it takes 21 days. I would have to say it takes more than 21 days to really get a habit going, but it's creating the habit. It's only as good as the amount of time, the amount of effort that you put into it. And if you are not making it a habit, it's not going to work for you. If you're only looking at it once a week, that's not going to work. You've got to spend, I suggest, just 10 minutes every morning, looking at what you've got to do. And then on the weekends, when you've got a lot of, you've caught up, then start going down through that brain dump and seeing, because it's actually kind of fun. So I'll go through once a month or so, I would say I go through my brain dump and see all the things. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I did want to hang curtains up in my bedroom. Well, I've got a little extra cash this month, or, birthday came around. This is what I'm going to do. And so I will move that up to the top. And so it's kind of fun. And then sometimes, you'll see things in your brain dump that you're like, I don't want to read that book anymore. And so you'll take it out. And so it's kind of fun. It's almost seeing, like where you were at that point in time in your life. And then things do change. So it's fine if it was, an important piece of your life then, but then it changes and it's not so important now. So don't be afraid to delete it. But I would say, yeah, the biggest thing is creating that 10-minute, it's like a reset, creating that habit where it's like brushing your teeth. You've got to brush your teeth twice. My mother does 3, but twice, at least twice a day. It's one of those things where you just got to really stay on top of it and look at it.
When you talk about prioritizing, do you have any methods that work really well on trying to decide or trying to learn what tasks I should be doing today versus which ones can wait a couple of weeks?
I think I think like I think every person is different. And what's very interesting, so I come from also an organizing background and help people, who are overwhelmed with clutter, getting things out of their house. And so uh I always play a game with myself and say, okay, well, what are they going to keep it, or are they not? Like this thing. And I always go, oh, they're going to get rid of this. There's no way they're going to keep this. And for some reason, that's very important to them. I think I get it wrong every single time. It's very funny because you don't. So, what I'm trying to say is that what's important to one person might not be important to another person. And for us, like when I work with people through this, I let them take the reins on the prioritization of all their stuff because I just don't know what might be really important to somebody or me isn't important at all. So it's really just kind of looking at those things one at a time and saying, when does this have to be done by? And if it doesn't, then let's push it down on the list.
Are you able to show me what Todoist looks like? Because I think it sounds awesome, but I'm also a little anxious about investing in software again. So I would love to see how it works.
Yeah, sure. So here is the inbox. And this is where, if you've got a quick idea and you're walking out the door and you need to add that task, this is where you add it. And this works also just as well on your phone as an app as it does the desktop version. So let's say purchase more kitty litter, because you can never have enough of that with three cats. And so then you can say, you can just add the test. Let's say I wanted to add it quickly just to get it on there. And so what I would do later is say, okay, I'm going to come back and I'm going to go, all right, well, when am I going to go to Target next? Or when am I going to go there? Well, I can do that. You know what? I'm going to do that this weekend because I'm going to go shopping with my daughter for Christmas presents. I'm going to put it on this weekend. And then also, you can change it. I'm going to put it into my tasks group. So I have different projects within my entire everything that's going on in my life. And so this is a life task. And so I'll put it under life tasks. And so then it disappears from the inbox. And so here on the left, you've got your different life projects. So reference, for example, is quotes that I hear. Like I have quotes of things that I want to remember. And so I'll have a quote section. This is out and about. So if I'm around these specific areas, I want it to alert me to say, hey, here's your gift certificate for REI. Don't forget it when you go into REI. I am a biker. And so whenever I think of new things that I want to purchase for biking, I add it to this reference list. So I never forget anything. It's fantastic. And then I have recipes, which I don't have many up here yet. I just have chocolate chip muffins, but the entire recipe is right there. And so I can share this with others. So I've shared this with my fiance. So hopefully he'll make the chocolate chip muffins. We'll see. And so that's where recipes. And then my favorite is home. This is where we have created this master home maintenance checklist. And it's everything that you need to keep your home well maintained. It's all the must-dos of your home, like HVAC service, hot water heater, dump and service, and then your gutters cleaned, all these things. And so what I've done is I've spread it out over the course of 12 months for my home. So I never have to remember like, oh, when did I clean my windows? Or, oh, when did my dryer vent get cleaned? They're all here. And what happens is, so I added dates to all of these. So when January 1 pops up, all these will go under the today tab here. And I will be able to see, okay, well, I need to do the sanitizing wash on my machine or my washing machine. I need to get my gutters cleaned. I need to change my air filters. I need to change my water filter in the garage. And I need to go through the kids' clothes. Like they're growing like weeds. I've got a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old. They're constantly growing. And so it's like a constant effort to just cycle through the clothes that they outgrow or don't wear. And so these will go into that today, and then they'll sit there until they get done. And then once you check them off, they regenerate. So they repeat and they will pop up in 2027. And this is a phenomenal way to make sure that your home gets everything done and you don't like the amount of overwhelm that has just been eliminated from my life just from home care by creating this. I mean, it took me a couple hours to create it, but I don't have to think about anything at all. It comes, all the tasks just get delivered to me. It's amazing. And then life is where here are the tasks, the to-dos, the things that I need to do. So purchase kitty litter. I got to order some more presents for my daughter, and I've got to order some uniform pants for my son. And these are the three things that, and like I said, I only keep a max of 3 things up there. Like I can accomplish this. And then I've got my NQ. I don't have any follow-ups going on right now, but got my NQ. And I'll tell you, so a little tip, when you're writing your tasks, be as specific as you possibly can be. So if you just write kitty litter, okay, do I need to clean the kitty litter? Do I need to buy new kitty litter? Because what happens is, especially in a brain dump, when you're adding all this stuff, you're going to forget what you wrote 3 months ago. And so you'll see it and you'll go, well, what did I mean by that? And that is really, really, it's hard because then you try to think about like, what did you mean? And instead of spending all that time, be very, very specific on exactly what you mean. So you take all the guesswork out of that task. And so, yeah, so these are my NQs. So once these are done, then these will start moving up. And then I switched over. I was using Asana for a while, and I realized that this is the better option for people. And so I haven't thrown all my brain dumps into here yet, but trust me, there's like 200 of them.
That's great. When you have something in queue, does it automatically move up to tasks or do you move it manually?
Yeah, you have to move it manually. And the reason why is because only you know what's more important in that list.
Any other tips and tricks as we approach the holidays to keep the overwhelm at bay?
Oh my goodness. Any other tips and tricks? Breathe. I think breathing and realizing that we're all going to get through this. I know there are a lot of times where we say, I don't know how we're going to get it all done, but I will tell you somehow, some way, you will get it all done. And that's just, it just, so don't be so overwhelmed. Don't be so worried about that I can't do it all. And that's okay if you can't do it all. We're going to make it, and just breathe.